You ever have one of those huge dreams, right? A massive goal, but you just find yourself stuck? You're thinking about it, planning it, but never actually doing it? Well, today we're going to dig into the timeless wisdom of the samurai to find a way to smash through that procrastination. And it all starts with a really simple question.
So let's just start right here. Do your dreams make you stronger, or could they actually be making you weaker? I know it sounds weird, but the answer might really surprise you.
To really get this, we've got to talk about something I call the dreamer's trap, and we're going to see it through the story of a young samurai named Yuki.
Okay, so Yuki, this guy's ambitions were absolutely massive. I mean, he wanted it all. To be the greatest warrior, master every weapon under the sun, learn these brilliant strategies, and just win epic victories for his clan. He would spend hours just lost in thought, imagining all of this future glory. He really believed that ambition was all he needed.
But here's the thing. When it came time to actually, pick up a sword and train, Yuki always had an excuse. The weather's not quite right, or, I'm not really feeling it today. Or he'd tell himself he just needed to plan things out a little more. And just like that, years slipped by. His dreams got bigger and bigger, but his actual skills, they stayed exactly the same.
And this is where that painful gap starts to open up. On one hand, you've got these vast, incredible dreams of his. But on the other hand, what's the reality? Undeveloped skills and zero real-world action. His dreams weren't fueling him anymore. They had turned into a source of frustration, of weakness.
And that leads us straight to the heart of the problem for so many of us, which is what we can call the motivation myth.
You see, Yuki got caught in this tricky psychological trap. He thought his ambition would just magically create motivation. But our brains are sneaky. His brain was giving him a little dopamine hit just for planning, just for dreaming. He was getting the reward without doing any of the hard work. He found comfort in the idea of making progress, instead of the actual discomfort of practice.
And this is a danger the samurai totally understood. They had this saying, "Dreams without action quietly waste time, and time once lost can never be reclaimed." Think about it. The bigger the dream, the more overwhelming it can feel, which makes it so much easier to just hide out in the planning stage instead of taking that first crucial step. So, if that's the trap, what's the way out? Well, the real samurai, legendary swordsmen like Miyamoto Musashi, they had a completely different philosophy. It's this idea that action creates the flame.
Musashi knew that true mastery, real greatness, it doesn't come from some flash of inspiration or a sudden burst of energy. No, it's forged in the quiet, humble, and let's be honest, sometimes boring rhythm of daily repetition.
And this next idea flips our whole modern idea of motivation completely on its head. The key takeaway is this: motivation is not the spark that creates action. More often, it is the flame that follows it. Let that sink in. Action comes first. The feeling of motivation is the result, not the cause.
So let's define that really clearly. In the samurai way of thinking, true motivation is that energy, that inspiration you feel after you've already started doing something. It's the momentum you build. It is not some magical feeling you have to wait around for before you can even begin.
Okay, so that's the big idea. But how did they actually do it? They used a practical system called Kaizen no Mi, which pretty much means the way of small improvements.
And the whole philosophy is captured so perfectly in this metaphor. You don't climb a mountain by just standing at the bottom, staring at the summit, and wishing you were there. No way. You climb it by focusing on the single step you're taking right now, and then the next one, and the next.
So picture a student who decides to practice just one single sword form every morning. That's it. His friends might even laugh at how tiny that effort is, but he does it every single day. That one small action starts to build momentum. And over months, his technique becomes flawless, his body gets stronger. He's building this deep foundation of discipline that leads to true mastery. All while the others, the ones waiting for some grand moment of inspiration, they're still standing at the starting line. In all of this, it really boils down to one final, incredibly powerful principle: learning to trust your commitment, not your emotion.
One of the great samurai teachers, Yagyu Munenori, said it best: "The sword that waits for perfect conditions never leaves its sheath." Waiting for the right moment, for the right mood, to feel like it, it's a total trap. You could be waiting your entire life.
And let's be honest with ourselves for a second. A lot of the time, our need for motivation is really just a mask for fear. We're afraid of the discomfort of starting something hard, of the resistance we're going to feel. But discipline isn't about not feeling that resistance. It's about acting anyway.
And here's the difference in its simplest form. The path of weakness says, I'll act when I feel like it. You're letting your random, fleeting emotions call the shots. But the path of strength says, I will act whether I feel like it or not. Now your commitments are in charge. That, right there, is the ultimate warrior's mindset. It's a declaration you make to yourself. I am not controlled by my feelings. I am guided by my commitments. This is the core principle for building anything worth a damn, whether it's a skill, a business, or just a better version of yourself. So I'm just going to leave you with this one question. Forget about motivation. Forget about waiting for the perfect time. What is the one small, almost laughably easy step you can take today to move toward your goal no matter how you feel? Because that single step, that's where all the real strength begins.